Imagine this: you're sitting in silence, maybe in your room, maybe on a walk in nature, maybe just staring at the ceiling between sleep and waking, and suddenly something shifts. You can't explain it. It's not a thought. It's not a feeling. It's a frequency, a presence, a current of energy that shoots through your system, not like electricity, but like a silent roar. You feel more alive, and at the same time, more dismantled. You're not having a breakdown, though it might look like it. You're having a breakthrough. And what's happening is something very few people on this planet can fully recognize unless they've been through it themselves. You're experiencing a rare energy activation. Not just a spiritual awakening, not just a moment of clarity. This is different. This is a 10x boost. This is your soul flicking the switch on a code that's been dormant in your energy field your whole life, and now it's online. But here's the thing. These rare activations don't come with a manual. They don't come with fireworks. They don't even make sense at first. In fact, they usually start by making everything feel chaotic. You lose interest in things that used to define you. You shed identities like old skin. Your body either vibrates with so much energy you can't sleep, or collapses into exhaustion that feels bone deep. People start to leave. New people start to show up. Synchronicities multiply. And beneath it all, a deep, ancient knowing begins to rise like a tide in your being. Something beyond ordinary life is happening to you now. Something sacred. Something coded. It feels like a storm and a birth at the same time. And if you're experiencing this, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You're being activated. Let me tell you something very few teachers will say out loud. Most people will never go through this level of energetic ignition. Not because they aren't worthy, but because their soul didn't sign up for it. This kind of activation is reserved for those who carry a very specific blueprint. And if you're still watching, it's likely that you're one of them. But why is it so intense? Why does it feel like everything is falling apart while simultaneously expanding into something cosmic? Because a rare energy activation isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. It's about reawakening the original architecture of your soul. And once it starts, you can't go back to sleep. You can't unsee what you now feel. You can't unknow what's rising inside you. That's the power of this energy. It doesn't ask for permission. It claims you.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
One of the first signs of this 10x activation is what I call the reality split. You begin to notice that you're living in two worlds. The outer world, the one built by systems, routines, roles, and structures, starts to feel more and more like an illusion. And the inner world, the one where energy, intuition, and resonance rule, begins to feel like the real one. You're not losing touch. You're gaining multidimensional sight. You start to see through people's words into their energy. You feel what's true even when it's unspoken. You know things without knowing how you know. And that sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's a signal. It means your energetic field is expanding, accessing frequencies that most people are still blocked from. But here's the hard part. The more you see, the more you must align. You can't lie to yourself anymore. You can't stay in the job, the relationship, the pattern that doesn't match your truth. Because when you try, your energy shuts down. Your system literally won't let you play small anymore. The second sign is what I call the energetic burning. This is where your nervous system starts to recalibrate. You might feel like your body is buzzing at random times, like your skin is humming, like your heart is expanding. Or the opposite, you might feel pressure, tightness, even pain in areas that never used to bother you. Why? Because your energetic body is upgrading at a cellular level, and your physical body is trying to keep up. This is not a disease, it's a detox. You're clearing densities, ancestral pain, karmic loops, societal programming, and your body is purging what no longer fits your new frequency. This is why people often get sick or feel fatigued during spiritual upgrades. It's not weakness, it's initiation. You are literally becoming a different vibrational being. And your body, your temple, is learning how to carry the voltage of your soul's true power. Another sign, and this one is where it gets mystical, you start receiving downloads. Not thoughts, downloads. Information that comes in flashes, in dreams, in sudden insights that feel like they didn't come from your mind, but from somewhere else. You might be walking in nature and suddenly understand a truth about the universe. You might wake up from sleep with a phrase, a vision, a knowing that shifts your entire perspective. These aren't hallucinations. They're activations. Your higher self is merging with your conscious self. And the more you trust these downloads, the more they come. The more you act on them, the more your life shifts into a timeline that feels divinely choreographed. The old path, the one of logic, control, planning, begins to dissolve. And a new path, the one of intuition, resonance, and quantum alignment, begins to open beneath your feet with every step. But let me ask you something now, something that might shake your soul awake. What if you're not here to follow the rules of this world? What if you're here to bend reality around your frequency? Because that's what rare energy activations prepare you for. Not to fit in, but to redefine what's possible. To walk into a room and shift the vibration simply by existing in your truth. To speak with energy encoded in your voice. To create from a place that touches not just minds, but souls. This is why the activation is so intense, because the mission is massive. You don't get handed this level of power without being stripped of everything that once diluted you. That's why things fall apart. That's why people leave. That's why you feel like you're dying sometimes. Because you are. The false self is dying so the real one can rise. You might be wondering, why now? Why is this happening to me at this moment in time? And the answer is simple, because the earth herself is shifting. The collective grid is vibrating faster. The old paradigms are crumbling. And souls like yours, coated with keys, with light, with ancient memory, are being activated to anchor the new frequency. You are not waking up by accident. You are being called. And the call is not casual. It's cosmic. It's precise. It's encoded into the very atoms of who you are. So if you're feeling this, if your life is unraveling and accelerating and expanding all at once, you're not broken. You're not lost. You're not out of control. You're being reborn. And this rebirth is not soft. It's not easy, but it is sacred. And you are not alone. There are others scattered across the planet going through this exact same ignition. We are being pulled toward each other. We are finding one another not through logic, but through vibration. And when we come together, that's when the 10x boost becomes permanent. That's when the grid lights up. That's when the new world begins to form not from theory, but from frequency. Once the rare energy activation has begun, the question is no longer, is this real? You've already felt it. The question now becomes, how do I stabilize this new frequency without burning out, shutting down, or getting lost in the chaos? Because the truth is, when your system starts running on higher bandwidth, when your soul begins feeding raw light codes into your mind, body, an energetic field, your entire reality starts to shift faster than conventional logic can explain. It's like going from dial-up internet to quantum fiber optics overnight. Your nervous system, your beliefs, your emotional body, your relationships, everything has to recalibrate to this new energetic speed. And if you don't know how to anchor it, you'll feel like you're constantly oscillating between divine clarity and human confusion. That's why this part of the journey is the most crucial. Stabilization isn't passive. It's not about waiting for integration to happen. It's about becoming a conscious architect of your internal temple, so that the divine voltage flowing through you doesn't just pass through, it builds new worlds inside you. Let's talk about what that actually looks like. The first layer of stabilization is nervous system regulation. I cannot overstate this. Your body is the circuitry. If your nervous system is overloaded, the data from the activation won't land, it'll scatter. You'll feel anxious, disoriented, overwhelmed, or even physically sick. This is why grounding becomes non-negotiable. Not in a surface level, go hug a tree kind of way, but in a deeply embodied way. You need to move your body like it's a sacred vessel for light. You need to breathe like your breath is the bridge between realms. You need to feel your feet on the earth like you're plugging into the planetary grid itself. Because you are. The only way to hold higher energy is to root deeper into your form. You're not here to escape your body. You're here to infuse it with divinity. And that means honoring your sleep, your hydration, your food, your movement, not as chores, but as rituals of energetic alignment. The second layer is mental deprogramming. When a rare energy activation happens, your old identity built on survival, approval, and logic starts to collapse. That collapse can feel terrifying. Your ego will try to grip onto anything familiar. It will tell you you're losing control, that you're crazy, that you need to get back to normal. But there's no going back, and that's the gift. Higher energy doesn't destroy your mind, it reformats it. It clears out the outdated mental software that was never yours to begin with. But you have to participate. You have to choose to let go of old scripts. You have to question every belief that feels tight or heavy or fear-based. You have to start asking, does this belief expand me or contract me? Does it vibrate with truth or echo with programming? This is how you stabilize your mind, not by controlling it, but by liberating it. By allowing your thoughts to become a reflection of your soul's vastness, not a cage built by society's limitations. The third layer is emotional alchemy. Energy doesn't just move through your chakras, it moves through your emotions. And when a rare activation hits, it will start to flush out anything you've suppressed. Grief, rage, shame, fear. Not to punish you, but to clear the channel. You cannot carry higher frequency while dragging repressed energy behind you. So when these emotions rise, don't run. Don't numb. Don't distract. Sit with them. Listen to them. Ask them what they need to say. Cry if you need to. Scream if you must. But do it consciously. Let the emotion move through without attaching to a story. This is how you transmute. You feel it fully, and it dissolves into wisdom. You stop fearing your feelings and start mining them for gold. That's emotional mastery, not suppressing, not indulging, but alchemizing. Now here's where it gets even more powerful. Once you've stabilized your body, mind, and emotions, the energy becomes usable. It stops being chaotic and starts becoming creative. You begin to access what I call your soul ignition blueprint. This is the part of your activation that unlocks your unique role in the planetary shift. You stop wondering what your purpose is, because it starts to reveal itself through your desires, your talents, your visions. You'll feel pulled to create, to speak, to build, to serve in ways that make no logical sense but feel undeniably aligned. That's the blueprint coming online. That's your higher self transmitting instructions through resonance, not reason. And the more you trust this pull, the more magnetic your field becomes. You start drawing in opportunities, people, synchronicities, not because you're chasing them, but because your frequency commands them. But here's the secret most people miss. You don't stabilize your energy just for yourself. You do it to become an anchor point for others. Once you hold steady vibration, your presence becomes a tuning fork. People feel calm around you. They feel seen. They feel activated just by being in your field. That's when you know you've embodied the activation, not just felt it. And from that place, you start to bend reality. You walk into spaces and shift the energy without saying a word. You speak and people awaken to truths they didn't know they were ready for. You create, and your work carries codes that ripple through the collective unconscious. This is not fantasy. This is energetic leadership. And it's what you were born for. So let me ask you now, what kind of world are you building with the energy you carry? What kind of frequency are you holding when no one is watching? Are you still waiting for permission to shine, or are you stabilizing the fire that's already been lit inside you? Because once you've been activated at this level, the only thing left is to choose who you become. Will you collapse under the weight of your own power? Or will you rise as the one who knows how to wield it with love, mastery, and devotion to something greater than self? Now that you've stabilized the rare energy activation and begun decoding your soul's ignition blueprint, you're standing at the edge of something extraordinary, something very few ever reach in a single lifetime. This is where the final transformation happens. Not in theory, not in potential, but in embodiment. Because the truth is, energy alone is not enough. Downloads are not enough. Visions are not enough. You can have all the spiritual insight in the world, but until your entire being, your words, your choices, your posture, your presence becomes a living transmission of that energy, the activation remains incomplete. Embodiment is the final frontier. It's where you stop trying to ascend and realize that you are here to descend your soul into your body so fully, so unapologetically, that reality itself begins to shift in your presence. That's what I mean when I say a reality that bows to your frequency. It's not arrogance. It's alignment. It's the magnetic law of nature responding to a being who is no longer fragmented, no longer split between who they are and who they pretend to be. It's the moment your inner world becomes so coherent, so tuned, so vibrationally precise that the outer world has no choice but to mirror it back. So what does quantum embodiment actually look like? It's not about being perfect. It's not about being enlightened in the way people romanticize. It's about being fully here, now in your body, in your truth, in your power without delay, without filter, without apology. It's walking into every space as if your energy is the message, because it is. It's making decisions not from fear or logic, but from resonance. It's letting your yes be a full-body yes and your no be sacred. It's knowing when to speak and when to hold silence as a frequency. It's realizing that every moment is a ceremony, every breath is a broadcast, and every interaction is an opportunity to encode the field with truth. You stop chasing timelines and start anchoring them. You stop waiting for signs and start becoming the signal. And this is not something you perform. It's something you become through radical consistency, radical presence, and radical trust in the intelligence of your soul. But here's the part people don't want to hear. Embodiment requires sacrifice. Not sacrifice in the way of suffering, but in the way of refinement. You will have to let go of every outdated version of yourself. Every identity that was built to survive, to be accepted, to be safe. You will have to let go of the need to be understood, liked, or validated. Because when you fully embody your rare energy activation, you will become a mirror, and mirrors don't always make people comfortable. You will reflect what others are not ready to see. You will trigger, awaken, disrupt, and sometimes even repel. But you will also heal, liberate, and activate, because your very presence becomes a portal. You don't have to preach. You don't have to prove. You just have to be, and the frequency does the rest. This is where the 10x boost becomes real. Not just as a moment of high vibration, but as a way of being. Your manifestations become instant not because you're lucky, but because you've cleared the internal resistance that used to block your receiving. Your relationships become deeper, more soul-aligned, because you're no longer attracting from wounds, you're attracting from wholeness. Opportunities seem to find you, not because you're searching, but because your energy is magnetic to your mission. You stop living in reaction and start living in creation. And life begins to feel not like something happening to you, but something happening through you. That's quantum embodiment. That's what happens when your frequency speaks louder than your words, and the universe responds to who you are, not what you ask for. But you must protect this embodiment, not through fear, but through standards. You must be ruthless with your boundaries, not just with people, but with energy. What you consume, what you tolerate, what you allow into your field. Because at this level, even subtle misalignments can cause massive energetic consequences. You have to treat your energy like a sacred instrument, tuned, intentional, and refined. This is not about being rigid. It's about being resonant. It's about knowing your frequency so intimately that anything less than truth simply cannot stay in your orbit. You're not judging. You're vibrating. And your vibration does the sorting for you. So let me ask you the final question, the question that only a soul on the edge of full embodiment can truly answer. Are you ready to stop trying to become something greater and simply allow yourself to be what you already are, without resistance, without delay, without compromise? Because the moment you stop seeking and start embodying, the entire game changes. You become the source. You become the field. You become the reality others are trying to find. And from that place, you are no longer bound by the old rules of time, space, or identity. You are free, fully, finally, and forever. This is what the rare energy activation was building you for. Not just to wake you up, not just to give you a mystical experience, but to transform you into a living portal of consciousness, a being whose every breath sends ripples through the quantum field. You are not here to play small. You are not here to be humble in the way the world defines it. You are here to be true. And when you are true, you are unstoppable. Not because you force the world to bend to your will, but because your frequency is so aligned with your soul's design that the world has no choice but to rise to meet you. This is quantum embodiment. This is the final shift. This is the moment your frequency becomes your reality. And now, the world is watching how you will walk. Will you walk as the one who was activated? Or will you walk as the one who activates others by simply being the truth? The choice, as always, is yours.